when tears streamed down Jimin's face in an official military formation, witnessed by dozens of eyes, one question immediately shook the army universe. What had Jungkook done that made Jimin cry in the middle of the barracks? It wasn't a concert scene, nor a dance rehearsal. This happened amid the uncompromising discipline of military life. An internal source leaked this emotional moment as one of the most shocking incidents ever to occur during BTS members' mandatory service. This incident occurred while both were serving in the 5th Division, where they were assigned as active-duty soldiers. Jungkook and Jimin, who had always been known for their professionalism and rarely showed vulnerability in public, suddenly became entangled in a situation that deeply rattled them emotionally. And it wasn't due to physical conflict or military punishment. It was deeper, more personal, and more moving than anything one could imagine. A military insider revealed that Jimin was seen crying after receiving a letter, not from family, not from fans, but from Jungkook himself. The letter wasn't just a typical message of support. Jungkook, known as the Golden Magne, personally expressed his deep respect for Jimin, revealing how much he had relied on him during the adaptation process in the military. "Without you, I might have given up in the first week," Jungkook wrote in the letter. That seemingly simple sentence struck Jimin's emotions hard. The event began after an exhausting night training session. Their unit had just completed a battlefield simulation in extreme weather conditions. Their bodies were covered in mud, hands injured, and stamina nearly depleted. In that state, Jungkook slipped into Jimin's sleeping quarters and left a letter in his sleeping bag. When Jimin found it hours later, he read it under the dim light of a flashlight, and the tears began to fall. Not from weakness, but because the feelings he had long suppressed were finally validated by the one he depended on most. Since that moment, many fellow soldiers realized that their relationship was far deeper than just friendship. They were not merely bandmates. In the harsh world of the military, they became each other's support system. However, what truly worried ARMY was not just that Jimin cried, but that the incident was triggered by the immense mental pressure Jungkook had been under. In a group counseling session, Jungkook openly admitted that he had experienced mild panic attacks during the early weeks of training. "I felt I wasn't strong enough. I'm used to stage pressure, but military pressure is different. It's about life, death, and the responsibility for others," he said in front of his unit members. That statement left the mental training room in silence. No one expected the idol with the perfect posture, golden voice, and international fame to be that vulnerable. It was Jimin who first noticed the change in Jungkook. He saw that his friend had become quieter than usual, often isolating himself during breaks and losing his appetite. Without hesitation, Jimin decided to speak with a training instructor, pleading for Jungkook to be given extra time to adjust. His action was initially seen as unusual, even soft by some soldiers. But it was later revealed that Jimin's decision saved Jungkook's mental state from total collapse. This became the turning point in their military relationship. Jungkook began to rise, showing incredible spirit and perseverance in every training session. He even started to take on the role of mentor for younger soldiers. One officer stated, "Jungkook transformed drastically from a stressed man into an inspirational figure within 2 weeks." I believe Jimin played a huge role behind that. But ARMY remains concerned, because such emotional moments reveal that the pressure BTS members face during military service is not something to be taken lightly. Jungkook, as the youngest member with the highest expectations, must constantly balance his identity as a global idol with that of an ordinary soldier in the barracks. Especially with the public eye constantly watching their every move, leaving no space for real psychological rest. Jimin, on the other hand, bears the burden of being an emotional pillar not just for Jungkook, but for many other comrades. He often becomes the place for fellow soldiers to confide, thanks to his calm and empathetic nature. But, as admitted by a military medical staff, those who are emotionally strong are often the ones most deeply hurt. Jimin's tears weren't just about Jungkook's letter. They were the outpouring of all the pressure he'd been holding in. ARMY has begun to call on the public to appreciate the struggles of BTS members during their service. They're not just fulfilling their duty as citizens, they're doing it with integrity and heart, a fan wrote in an online community. Many hope the military can provide extra mental health protection for them, especially amid the growing media spotlight. Not long after the incident went viral within military circles, several military officials reportedly held a closed meeting to discuss measures to strengthen psychological support for celebrity soldiers. Although no official confirmation has been given, there's speculation that the Jungkook-Jimin event has triggered a reassessment of the emotional support system in the South Korean military. Now, both Jungkook and Jimin appear to be regaining their rhythm. They continue to carry out their duties with full dedication and are reportedly set to lead an internal project, a documentary video production showcasing the human side of military life. A move considered vital to bridging the gap between the entertainment world and military life, while reducing the stigma surrounding celebrities in mandatory service. But behind it all, the unanswered question still lingers in ARMY's minds. How deep are the psychological wounds left on Jungkook and Jimin from their military service? And more importantly, will the world be ready to accept this new side of them, not just as artists, but as human beings who have endured a mentally transformative journey? Jimin, in a message leaked through a personal letter to a fellow soldier, wrote, "I didn't cry because I'm weak. I cried because I knew we've gone beyond the limits of ordinary humans, and we're still able to protect each other." One sentence that captures the essence that behind the glamour and glory, they are still human. And perhaps that's where BTS's greatest strength truly lies, the event that shook BTS fans. Jungkook allegedly making Jimin cry during their military service has sparked an extraordinary wave of public reaction, especially among ARMY worldwide. But behind the outpouring of sympathy, admiration, and concern, a fundamental question arises. Did this event really happen as reported, or is it just a narrative built for sensationalism? We need to pause, lower the emotional intensity, and ask seriously, is it possible this information has been exaggerated? Who benefits from this story? And more importantly, who is accountable if the story turns out to be inaccurate? Let's re-examine the sources of this information. Most of the narrative surrounding the Jungkook and Jimin incident comes from unofficial channels, TikTok video clips, anonymous Twitter posts, YouTube commentary channels, and unverified quotes from internal military sources. There's been no official statement from the South Korean military, no confirmation from BTS's agency, HYB, and neither artist has made any public comment. So, why did so many people believe it right away? Is it because the story aligns with ARMY's emotional desire to witness personal closeness between BTS members? Does it reflect a collective yearning for a humanized narrative of idols typically seen only through the lens of stage and camera? Or is this actually an exploitation of public sympathy used to generate clicks, views, and social media engagement? It's important to understand that emotionally charged information, especially that revealing public figures' vulnerability, often holds great appeal. Social media algorithms accelerate the spread of such stories, even before their accuracy can be verified. Is this a new form of emotional clickbait? Don't we, as media consumers, have a moral responsibility to verify before sharing? We must also ask, how did sensitive information like Jungkook's personal letter or Jimin crying while reading the letter leak so easily to the public? If this truly happened within a military environment known for strict information control, how could such specific details escape?